Um, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ryan Burns. You might remember me. I'm the head of community at the Startup Network. And welcome to the second session of our Design Foundation series, Designing Your App, Foundations for SaaS and App Founders. This is Design Your App. My name is, again, Ryan Burns, and I'm the head of community at the Startup Network. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land from which we are all joining today and pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. At the Startup Network, our mission is to empower founders from all different angles. We offer a comprehensive range of programs, events, consultations designed to support every stage of your entrepreneurial journey. That's pretty much every aspect of that journey. So with over 100 events, 100 events scheduled this year, more than any other community, our offerings include workshops like today, pitch nights, hackathons, networking opportunities. We are even running a festival. We're going to do a lot of cool, interesting things. We've done plenty of fireside chats and panels, and so we're diving into the area of unique and creative events shortly as well. Last year we had the privilege of hosting Sam Altman from OpenAI. He came out to join us for a very large event, and we have even bigger plans for this year with some major speakers, getting lined up as we continue to expand throughout Australia and APAC, and then globally. We remain committed to providing unparalleled support and resources to our member. And I really want to focus on that word unparalleled. There's really nobody else doing what we're doing. If you find out somebody else is doing something similar, more than likely they are probably doing it because they are a for-profit company. We are a nonprofit. We are simply here to exist for you. That's it. That's the only reason we're here. The best way to take full advantage of what we offer is to become a member of the Startup Network. Membership is the reason we're here and the reason we can exist. Membership provides a bunch of free and discounted access to our events, exclusive resources, and a community of like-minded entrepreneurs. We just upgraded our member experience website. We'll have some more kind of experiences upload to that throughout the year. And it's really just a great time to be part of the Startup Network. We're thrilled today to have our friends from Appomate, Vish and Zane, who are the head of design at Appomate, leading today's session. Vish and his team are really renowned for their innovative and user-centric design approach. They have helped numerous startups achieve their goals, and through exceptional app design, Vish brings a wealth of experience and insight, making him the perfect guide for today's journey into the essential winning app design. I see Zane on the call. Zane, did we have Vish
I reckon he's just got caught up with some technical difficulties, to be honest, guys. So it's always the way. Um, I guess what we could try and do is we can maybe go through. I guess if anyone has some questions from last week, if they did have the vision, I can cover that off. Did anyone have any questions now that they've had some time to decompress around that as well? Feel free. No, no questions. Yeah. In terms of, I guess, why the design component is actually, when I'm speaking to a lot of my clients, I try and move away from more the analytics and stuff like that Vish and the team generally go through. And my ability to talk to people is more on the look and the feel and the actual emotional side of it as well. So when I'm, I guess, speaking to clients, the importance of UI and UX is really comes down to your own experience when you've had something, right? So we've all had an app before, and we've all had it, we sit at it, and we go, no, don't like it. And you might not know why you don't like it. It could be a color, it could be the way that it feels, the way that it actually functions in terms of the way that it comes, the information comes and receives to you as well. When I'm talking to people, I generally say you've got 6 to 7 seconds to really hit the mark, right, with somebody. And in fact, you probably have a little bit less. With what we try and do here is we try and get ourselves in your client's feed first. So what's the experience that they're going to face when they want to get onto your app? One of the main things that people see first is the onboarding side of things. If you make onboarding incredibly difficult, people will just straight up blast you away and you'll never get them back again. So how can you make that experience the best experience possible for your clients? No matter what you're trying to solve in terms of a problem, but you need to get them on the app. So things that we try to explore is what's something that we can do to get people into the app without having to fully sign up to the app ultimately, but still explore the problem that you're trying to solve. So those are the sorts of things that we try and face. And then when they try to complete a further action, that itself is what then prompts them to fill out the onboarding experience as well. So there are multiple different ways to skin a cat. Each idea is different, and we try and put ourselves in the client's shoes first to be able to really hit the mark on that one as well. So that's really what my role is trying to do, is explain the journey that you're going to find as a founder, base that around the technology and how we can solve that problem with the technology, but also give you an insight as to what it's going to be like across your journey as a founder. What's the problem that you're trying to solve? Do you know the full problem you're trying to solve? Have we also faced that problem internally? Those are the sorts of things that we're trying to bring to the fray. I guess my particular role is to be the jack of all trades, master of none, so to speak. So I will talk to people about how are you going to go to market? What are you going to do from a marketing perspective? And what are we going to utilize from our prototype to use that marketing? Are we going to use some of the screens? Are we going to use videos? Are we going to go through social media marketing, or are we going to go direct marketing with boots on the ground? What's your idea and your business structure that we're going to utilize to get you out to market as well? A lot of people will talk to me about, well, how do you find investors? What do I need to do to have those conversations as well? We might go through that later down the track. But ultimately there, I'm to guide you through the journey, right? You'll come to me when you've got a problem. Hey, Zane, been speaking to this particular person about my idea. What do I do next? And then I'll give you some guidance around how to do that as well. So I guess, is there anyone here that does have a particular idea that you'd like to share, or maybe get some insight about? Maybe we can kind of spitball some certain things as well, if that's possible. I'm going to send Vish a message, by the way, to see where he's at.
Sorry, I missed that. So you want one of us to share our startup idea?
Yeah, why not? If you're comfortable doing so, we can run through that together. Yeah, if you're comfortable sharing with the team.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
Absolutely.
What do you want to know? Just the main gist of my idea?
Honestly, what's the problem that we're trying to solve? At its core, when we're trying to build an app, the simplest way that you need to see this as is, what's the key problem that I'm trying to solve, and how do I think the technology is going to solve that problem?
Right. Okay. So I'm trying to solve for a few things that relate to each other.
Mhm.
Main thing being child obesity and malnutrition.
Mhm.
And also, like, I strongly feel like there's inadequate or poor level of food and nutrition education amongst kids and adolescents.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm solving for.
Yep.
And I'm
Brilliant.
solving it with trying to create a revolutionary, interactive and fun interactive and fun educational platform for kids and adolescents
Yep.
to
Brilliant.
learn how to eat healthier, sustainably, and ethically for better food future and future in general. Yeah.
Awesome. So a key component of this is what we'd actually go through, where we're going through, say, a kickoff for a design component. Who's the demographic that we're trying to sell to? Who are we actually targeting? Now, are we targeting the children themselves, or are we
Mm,
targeting the parents to control that? Because
mm,
ultimately, how we're going to go through a design phase on this is going to be completely different to the other. If we're talking about targeting the children, we might have a key demographic of 5 and above, up
yeah.
to 18. So the way that they interact with that is going to be completely different.
Mm-hmm.
So what we would go through is, and Ryan, could you please share the link with Vish? He seems to be having some difficulties. Thanks. Um, the the way that we'll go through is like, okay, the interactivity with children, there might be stickers, there might be emojis, there might be a lack of communication from a typed or spoken word. So we might use pictures and stuff like that to be able to guide that. But then if we're
Mm-hmm.
targeting the parents, we might be using some educational base. So we might be linking into, say, like a MyFitnessPal or a recipe builder or an education platform to be able to, I guess, give them the education to be able to then pass that on to their children. Perhaps there's some psychology side of things that we can work towards about creating partnerships with those child nutritionists and stuff like that as well. but the way that we'll target the design will be completely different based on our demographic. So we kind of work backwards, if that makes sense. So who's our core? What's the core problem? Who's our core demographic? And then we work from there as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Does anybody else have any other questions?
So, do you mind me just asking a follow-up question?
Of course.
So, like, I've obviously identified that basically I'm really, at the end of the day, targeting more parents and teachers because the end user is kids and adolescents who obviously most of them don't really have primary access to technology like iPads or computers and whatnot. So it's mostly like the teachers and the parents doing it on behalf of the kids. So wouldn't like my initial target demographic be parents and teachers, and then the end user being the kids? Or is it like they both go hand in hand? Because
so you
I'm
would
trying to
probably
also
target the easiest and who's going to interact with it the most.
yeah.
So I would suggest that the parents are the people that you would want to work with. And we actually go through a particular framework from not only the design component, and I believe Vish has mentioned this in his first week. It's called the Jobs to be Done framework. And a Jobs to be Done framework is formulated by a guy by the name of Bob Moesta, and I'll share that in the chat. But Bob Moesta is about going it through and figuring out what problems occur and what ones are we trying to solve based on the task. So, for example, if we use something like, I'm trying to create a nutritious meal for my child, but I don't know where it is. So what are the jobs that are required to do that? First of all, I have to do the research. So I'll walk to the computer, I'll sit at the computer and I'll type away nutritious food, right? Next, I'll grab a recipe. I'll get that recipe from the computer and I'll save it to my phone. Then I'll drive to the supermarket. I'll get out of the car, walk to the supermarket. So just then and there, we've probably done 6 tasks already based on that. So we've basically done 6 tasks. So how do we then utilize the technology to turn that 6th task into one? So when we're going through our Job to be Done framework, we're going to be interviewing the teachers, but we're also going to be interviewing the parents. And what jobs do they require to be able to get the nutritious meal into that person or into that student as well? And you'll find through these interviews or custom interviews who you're actually targeting and who you're actually going to find the target to be, because you'll see who's actually facing the bigger problem ultimately. And most likely it would be the parents because they're the ones who are controlling what's going in their kids' mouths. Right? They might not have the access to the technology, but through the schools, they may be able to give them the access. And a lot of schools are now providing iPads to students and laptops and whatnot. In, I guess, more of the affluent schools, I guess you could say. But what we'd actually go through is being able to figure out where that Jobs to be Done is going to be created and who that actual target audience is going to be and in solving that problem.
Right. That's been very insightful. Thank you so much.
No worries.
I was just wondering on a final note, am I able to connect with you if I have more questions?
Absolutely. So again, at the end of this, you'll have my phone number at the end of the chat. I'll post it in the chat, but we'll also go through the slide that actually have that contact details on there as well.
Sure, sounds good.
Awesome, thank you. Over to you, Vish.
Hey, thanks, Shane. So hey everyone. First of all, sorry, it was a mix-up with the links on the meeting. So what we're going to do today is look at high converting design elements and product-led growth mechanics, and then focus on those two, and then go through any questions and answers you may have based on today's session. So we'll get started, and I'll share my screen now. So I just go here. Please let me know once you're able to see my screen.
Yeah, you're all good, mate.
Awesome. Have we started the recording?
I believe so, yeah.
Awesome, thank you. So yeah, just to quickly check, following up from last week's conversation, does anyone remember how many apps there are on the App Store and Play Store? Just shoot the message on Zoom chat here, Let's see. Let's see if anyone remembers that. Doesn't think like it. But yeah, like we saw last week, there are about 5.4 million apps, 1.8 on the App Store and 3.5 on the Google Play Store. And the average rating for all the apps in the App Store right now is about 4.2 stars, which means we need to design and build a product that at least reaches this average rating, if not more, to attract and thanks, Ben. Thanks for letting me know that it's not actually on the full screen mode. I wonder what screen this is on. Is this now on full screen mode?
That's the better one. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. So yeah, the average rating for all the apps on the App Store is 4.2 stars. So which means we need to design and build an app that at least reaches this average state or more in order to attract and acquire customers. So how do we do this? So we improve our chances of getting a more higher rating or acquiring more users, with our app and design is by incorporating high converting design elements. Now, what are high converting design elements? High converting design elements are those elements that you can bring into the app and incorporate throughout the user journey that will convert the users from one step to another step at a much higher efficiency. For example, this awareness to acquisition to activation to retention or revenue and referral. So throughout these steps, how can we convert the user from one step to another in the way we want them to, but with a higher degree of efficiency and accuracy? So that is what high converting design elements are, and that is why they are important, and that is what we will be looking at today in the first part of our session. So the first high converting design element is what is called as solving the cold start problem. So what is a cold start problem, right? So imagine you just started using an application and the application has not had the time to learn about you yet. And, probably you created your account and it's been just 5 minutes and you need a really good experience. So imagine social media like Instagram, right? You create an account on Instagram, you start using the app, you open the app. Imagine your experience if Instagram said, sorry, I can't show you anything because I don't know anything about you. So let me learn about you and then start showing you images. That's a terrible experience, right? So the experience the user has when they use the product for the very first time or when they are very new to the product is what is called as a cold start. That is the time where the user and the product has a very low traction and engagement. So it is like a car that's left out, in a cold winter night here in Melbourne, and the engine's frosty and it's refusing to turn on, and the app needs to provide some sort of a spark or a kickstart to get the user traction and experience going. How do we do that? So we do that by understanding what the user purpose is and providing them with, if not 100% aligned, at least 80% aligned content to the user so that they get the value out of the products very easily. You have actually seen this in a lot of applications, say Instagram. So you create an account. As soon as you go in there, you haven't yet followed any of your friends or people that you're interested in, but still Instagram already shows you some content, some images based on what it knows about you and the location that you have input and your gender and your age and all that. Reddit does the same thing. So when you create a new account on Reddit, as soon as you create your account, it asks you, please choose 3 or 5 topics that are interesting or that are of interest to you, and you will then go and Reddit will start showing you content from there. Tumblr does the same thing. If you look at, these are social applications, B2C applications. If you look at B2B applications, like say, I don't know how many of you know about Jira, or, a ticket management system, something like that, or even Xero or Myob. When you create the account and when you first start using it, there are some sample invoices or sample quotations that's there, just to give you an experience of when you create an invoice or a quotation, how does it look, right? And even Google does the same thing. Gmail does it the same thing. So when you create your Gmail account for the very first time, you get an email, not an email, so 2 to 3 emails from Gmail that gives you an experience of how it looks when you get an email, and how can you interact with an email, how can you read an email, and all that. What you're seeing on the screen here, the 3 screens, is one of our own designs for a client. So this is basically a social media application that we designed for people who want to showcase their collectibles. So when we started working with the client and understanding, the jobs that their users wanted done, we thought, okay, we realized that people had 4 key reasons. So one was to showcase their collection, one was to sell their collections or catalog their own collections, or even to build their own collections by purchasing from other people, right? So we said, okay, the first step is let's understand why they're using this app. So we are collecting the purpose. And then we are trying to understand what are they interested in. So there are different categories of collectibles. So we give the user some options and they select the categories they're interested in. And based on these 2, we started showing some trending accounts on the app from other users that the user can choose to follow. So as soon as the user follows some of these accounts and completes their onboarding, the user is immediately presented with some content that is related to them, that is of interest to them. And from there, the user can build their following and start consuming more content. So solving this cold start problem actually helps you keep the user engaged right from the very first interaction and make them a loyal and consistently retained user. So in your own context, in your own products, think of what is the experience for the user when they come to your product for the very first time and they haven't created anything, or there is no content that for sure that the user needs. How can you guess or suggest or present content to them that is at least slightly relevant to what the user is looking for? Now, this is one of the high converting design elements that you can bring into your journey. The second one is error handling. Generally, like we said, I think there's many research that talks about how much attention a user can give to a product or a screen at any point in time. And I think the average attention rate is about 3 seconds. So the users just scan the content and they try to understand what they want, what it is presenting, and they try to give a response to that. Even when they are filling out a form, people don't want to read anymore, right? So when people are using that product in that level of focus or that level of attention, errors are prone to happen, and it's expected. Hence, error handling is one of the crucial things for a smooth user experience. Now, there are multiple ways of handling an error. So first and foremost is preventing the error. So let's do anything that's possible to prevent the error. But the second thing, if the error happens, as it is prone to happen, the second thing is, how can we provide more informative and helpful error messages to the user so that the user is no longer confused, right? The third thing is providing visual cues to the user so that the user knows where the error is and how can they fix the error, and bringing their attention and focus onto the error. And finally, data-driven decision making on how we can actually solve the error. Now, these two examples are a brilliant example of how good error handling can be incorporated into the product. So it's a calendar application where you are creating an event within the calendar. So the user has input a date and the user has input the time. Now, for some reason, the app thinks, okay, this is not the right date or the right time. Now, instead of just saying, okay, the specified date is incorrect, the app could help the user understand it better by saying something like, okay, the date is in the past, so use a future date to create an event or something like that, right? So that the user knows what they have done wrong and what they can do to correct themselves. The other example could be, say, for example, you have a character limit for the number of characters user could input in a particular field. And instead of saying, please input a shorter text, you could say, the character limit is 500. You have input 600 characters. So something like 600/500, so that the user knows how many characters they need to reduce or remove in order for it to work. So error handling is the second high converting design element here. The third one is engaging empty states. Now, empty states in apps, they're tricky because there is not a lot that you can do to fill something that's empty, because it might require the user's input or the user uploading something and all that. But with the right approach, they can actually become opportunities to engage users and build their loyalty to the product. So the empty state, there are a few key things that you can do. One is being clear and informative on why it's empty and what the user can do, offering the next step, guiding the user to the next step as well, keeping it positive and engaging, personalizing the experience, and doing all this without actually overwhelming the user. And what you're seeing on the screen is one of our designs where the user is building their list of contacts, and they're grouping the contacts into their family circle, and in this case cousins, and they can upload pictures of their cousins and build their family tree, but the user hasn't uploaded anything. So we are kind of telling the user that, oh, this is empty, and we are showing it with a small graphic, and we are saying no logs found, log your legacy by adding media, and there's a plus button at the bottom the user can click on to add it and all that. One of the best known examples of empty state is Google Chrome. Sorry, not Google Chrome, the Google website. Imagine you go to google.com and, for example, your computer or your phone does not have internet. So instead of providing just an empty screen where it says, sorry, there is no internet, we cannot connect, what Google does is it gives you a small game where there's a small dinosaur, and it starts running, and you press the space button for the dinosaur to jump the obstacles, and you keep playing. So even when the experience is not in either Google's control or in the user's control where there's no internet, the user is still engaged, and the user is not just left hanging and waiting, twiddling their thumbs for the internet to come back. The user has something to do, fun, entertaining, and positive and engaging while they wait for it. Right? And I actually know a lot of my friends who purposefully turn on the airplane mode on their computers just to play that game. So, those are some of the creative things that you can bring into your product to actually make the empty states really engaging. The next one is paywall pages. Now, this is a crucial one because this directly impacts the revenue that the product can generate from the users. Now, paywall pages, what happens generally is paywall is basically a payment gateway. The user has to make a payment to access the content behind the payment gateway, right? So that's basically what a paywall is. So optimizing where you have to place the paywall and where you can prompt the user, hey, to access this, you need to pay, providing that message to the user means everything about converting the user from a non-paying customer to a paying customer, right? Three key things that's very important in determining how you can design this is providing the timing and context, providing the design and messaging of how you are asking the user for payment. And the third thing is experimenting to see what works for what category or what cohort of your customers, and using the data to analyze that and providing the options that works best for those customers. Imagine Amazon Prime. So you don't have Amazon Prime subscription. You go into Amazon Prime. Amazon does not stop you from accessing Prime if you don't have a subscription. You can still go onto Prime. You can look at all the movies that's out there, and you can browse through the list. But when you try to play a movie, Amazon knows that your motivation is high because you have chosen a movie, you want to watch it, and they have made it really easy for you to play the movie. And at that point, they say, sorry, you don't have a subscription. Click here now to subscribe and watch the movie. All you do is click the button to subscribe and you can watch the movie. And that is a brilliant example of the timing and context, because they know that, okay, that's a time where the user's motivation is high. The context is the user wants to watch a movie, and we are telling, sorry, you have to watch this movie, we know, but you don't have a subscription. All you need to do is get the subscription, you can watch the movie, and that's the messaging, and it works, right? The example that you are seeing here is, this is a product that we designed for one of our clients. It's called Find My Player, and it's basically an app for people, for sports enthusiasts, to follow their favorite players. In this example, golf, right? So in the free plan, you can follow up to 5 players. So the user has already followed up to 5 players. And when the user tries to follow the 6th player, a very simple message comes to the user which says, free plan only allows up to 5 players, upgrade now so you can follow up to 10. And it's just only $10 per month. You can cancel anytime. There's no lock-in contracts. So very low risk, upgrade now. And the user clicks on upgrade now and it's done. So that way, the timing and context, the user wants to do it. And just going back to BJ Fogg behavior model, we know the motivation is really high. And at that time, we want to make it really easy for the user so that we can actually convert the user and get them to become a paying customer. So in your own products or the products that you are planning to build, think of at what point in time the user's motivation is really high and how much you can let the user perform or act without becoming a paying customer, and at what point in time you can present the paywall to the customer so that they want additional value, they're trying to get that additional value, and then you present the paywall so that you can generate some revenue from the user. The next thing is getting user feedback. Now, this is a tricky one. And like we said, the average user feedback or the average app rating is 4.2 stars. And last week, we said anything that has less than 3.5 stars, people wouldn't download. And 4 stars are above, there's a 70% higher chance of people downloading it. So what you want is you want the app rating to be on the higher side as much as possible, so that your app stores only get positive ratings, and your all the negative ratings or all the user frustrations do not reach the App Store and Play Store. So user feedback as you know, is lifeline for the business. So you understand the pain point and all that. So it is really important to understand that, but at the same time, you don't want it reaching the App Store and Play Store. So one high converting design element or design decision that you can bring here, where you can achieve both objectives of identifying the pain points, but at the same time, it not reaching public forum, is by using the user feedback prompts. Now, collecting user feedback obviously shows that you respect their feedback. It builds the trust because the user has an option to give you the feedback, and it helps you guide the product development roadmap as well. What you can do here is, as once the user completes the action that gives them or takes them to the aha moment or provides them value, at that point in time, show the prompt to collect the user feedback. And this is what we use across all our products. So show them the prompt to collect user feedback. Anything above 4 stars, you can build it in such a way that it goes to the App Store or Play Store. But anything less than 4 stars, you can take the user to a feedback form where you can say, sorry, you had that experience. Can you please tell us more about what your experience was? That way the user can just type in and submit. And what you're doing is you're proactively collecting negative feedback and taking it on and addressing the pain point rather than it reaching the App Store or Play Store. So this is more of a combination of design and development, where you're designing it in such a way that 4 or more goes to the stores, 4 or less, it goes to a feedback form where you're collecting the feedback. The user feels heard and you know what exactly to fix as well. So those were the high converting design elements that we could potentially use to convert more users from one step to another throughout the user journey. The next set, which is the other side of the coin, is product-led growth mechanics. Now, obviously, we saw how we can take the user from one step to another and how we can maximize our conversion. But at the same time, we want our own products to sell itself and grow itself for every marketing dollar that we spend, right? So that is what product-led growth is. So here in this section, there's a question there, Nisha, about social listening. So social listening is the mechanic where you can actually track what the users are saying about your business or your product across social media like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, Reddit, whatever, and get the general sentiment of your users on social that they're sharing about your product or business. I'll probably talk a bit about this at the end of this. So, you can get a fair idea of how we can bring in social listening. So product-led growth mechanics, coming back to this. So one of the first ones here is no barriers to entry. Now, this growth mechanic actually focuses on converting users when they become aware of your product to acquiring them. So this mechanic deals with the acquisition of users. What this says is products should be designed in such a way that you remove as many friction points as possible for a user to start using your product. Friction points stop people from signing up, right? People don't want to spend a lot of time. People don't want to spend a lot of effort into testing out a product, because at that point in time, all they are is they're curious about your app and they're thinking of, okay, let's see if this app works for me or not. So you want to remove as many frictions as possible for them so they can test it out and see for themselves that it solves their problem and become a paying customer. Especially for SaaS products, removing barriers to entry is in the form of freemium pricing. or free trials, right? So we saw a lot of products last week as well, which does this. So Slack, has a free version. If you want to experience how Slack works and if it's the right fit for you, you can just create a free Slack account and try it out. They give you even a 14-day free premium trial, so you can see what the premium plan looks like and if it is right for you. Zoom does the same thing. You can use Zoom for up to 40 minutes of video calls, see if that's the right video calling solution for you, and then decide whether you want to purchase Zoom or something else. Most products, like even Dropbox, they have like a free plan where you get like 2 gigs of storage, and then if you need more and if it works for you, you can purchase more. So freemium and free trials is a really good way for SaaS products to reduce barriers to entry. And at that stage, our recommendation is do not get the user to go through a very long setup process. Collect only the information that's absolutely necessary for the user to start using your app. Obviously, if we are looking at something like an accounting platform or ERP system or an enterprise application, the initial setup might be a bit long and it might take more time. But wherever possible, only collect the most important information that are must-have for the initial account setup, and then everything else progressively collect it and build the user's account for them. So the first product-led growth mechanic is reducing barriers to entry. Why this is important is 53% of buyers prefer to buy without any interaction with sales. So nowadays, any sales SaaS product, people don't want to call a salesperson, get them to sell it for them, and then buy it, right? Again, for example, if you want to buy Zoom, you would just try it for yourself and subscribe, rather than calling Zoom's sales team and getting them to sell it for you, unless you are buying it for, say, thousands of users as an enterprise customer. 74% of users uninstall an app after having a bad onboarding experience. So that's why it's really important to make the onboarding as easy and simple as possible. And one of the ways of making it easy and simple is using something like social logins, where you can collect the user profile information very quickly because they have already set it up on Google, Facebook, Apple, or something else. Some of the key components in reducing this: social logins, easy sign up. So the objective is getting to the aha moment as soon as possible. Intuitive and simple onboarding process where the user does not require a lot of hand holding, and simple and engaging product tours, especially in slightly complicated products, such as, say, for example, say a road planning application, right? So where it's a very domain specific thing, and you want people to know how to use your product because it's very specialized. In such cases, providing engaging product tours or ongoing in-app education, and even support in the form of, say, emails or say content series within the app, where you can teach the user how to use your product. And some apps, again, this one's a bit debatable in terms of the ethics of it. Adobe recently is facing some inquiry into this based on this behavior itself, which is creating a high barrier to exit once the user is in. So that's one of the options. Probably wouldn't recommend that for a lot of products, but we have seen companies do that, especially companies like Adobe. Examples, like we talked about, Miro, not sure how many people have used it. It's a digital whiteboarding application. If you want to try out Miro, all you do is sign up with your email address. That's all it does. So you put in the email address, select the password, and it asks you what your job is. So it can provide you with templates related to that. It will potentially ask you to invite someone, but that's it. As soon as it's done, you can start creating a digital whiteboard and start using it and start experiencing it to see how it looks and how it feels and does it suit your purpose. Loom is another product that we saw where it has very low barrier to entry. So you can just start using Loom with, signing up with Google or, LinkedIn accounts or Microsoft accounts. And you can just start using it, and it gives you like 5 minutes of screen recording. So you can record your screen and see if it works best for you, and decide whether you want to continue using it or not. And in terms of high barrier to exit, like I said, Adobe, and even for that matter, Microsoft, what they do is once you start using it, once you become a paying customer, canceling the subscription is not an easy experience. So it's hidden under multiple levels or multiple layers. So you go through, the user has to go through multiple layers and put in a lot more effort to cancel the subscription. And going back to the BJ Fogg behavior model, people don't want to do that if it's difficult. So people just end up paying for it perpetually because it's a bit difficult to cancel their subscription. And that's one of the probably more morally debatable things that you could do in your business. And again, if it works for the business, if it works for the users, that is one mechanism that's available. The second one is onboarding. So this actually addresses the acquisition to activation step in your customer lifecycle. So onboarding is basically the process of guiding new users from the moment they become a user to the moment they get the aha experience. So when the user gets the first taste of the product by looking at the key features or the key value prop, we call the users as activated, right? Now, why is this important? Onboarding is important because if the user doesn't see the value in your product, probably they wouldn't continue using it, right? Because they don't know what the product can do for them. Apps with great onboarding experience can see up to 50% increase in user retention because the user knows what it is and they'll keep coming back to it again and again. Users who complete a well-designed onboarding are 7 times more likely to become active users and continuously use the product. Especially this is important when the product has a different buyer and a different user. What I mean by that is, imagine your app is being bought by a business so that the business's employees can use it, right? So in such scenarios where you are a B2B product and you are selling it to a business, the person who is making the purchase decision may not be the user of the product. In such scenarios, what happens is you may sell it and the person making the purchase decision might buy it, but if the users don't continue using it or don't become active users, the business would stop using the product or stop subscribing it after the first initial contract period. So users who complete a well-designed onboarding are 7 times more likely to become active users. They become more proponents of your product so that they continue to keep their subscription. Apps that invest in great onboarding can see up to 150% increase in their total growth, right? This is as per AppQ's, and this is a very recent statistic. This is last year's statistic as well, like 2023, end of 2023. Some of the key components of how you can provide great onboarding for the users. One, keep it easy and intuitive. So don't require the user to do very complex steps during the onboarding. Remove them as much as possible from the onboarding. If there is a complex setup that needs to be done, let the user do it at a later stage rather than during the onboarding itself. Provide personalized guidance. understand what the user is trying to do, what their role is, what their level of understanding and skills are, and provide a personalized experience. Progressively let the user learn how to use the product. So for example, if your product has multiple features, let the user experience the key feature first, and then, once they complete experiencing it, then the next time they come in, let them experience another one, and the next time they come back, they let them experience another one in the right context, so that they progressively continue to learn your product. Provide interactive tutorials for complex functionality. So if a functionality is complex, and based on the user testing and the reviews, if you feel the users may not easily understand this, provide interactive tutorials and handhold them throughout the process, so that the first time they use it, they know exactly how to do it. Provide immediate value. We are all tuned to getting immediate gratification. So if the user gets immediate value out of the product the first time they use it after onboarding, the higher chances of the users becoming active and becoming a retained user or a repeat user. Providing engaging design. I think we talked about it even last week, which is about how aesthetics is not just nice to have anymore, and visual appeal is one of the key things for the user experience. At this stage, let the user share some feedback with you, and you share some feedback with the user on how they did, and provide some support where the user can reach out to you if they get stuck or if they need any help. That way the user knows that, okay, there is a team behind the product and the business, and there's someone who can help them if they get stuck, even going forward. Some of the good onboarding experience in products, I feel one product does that really, really well, which is Headspace, right? So not sure how many people have used Headspace before. Headspace is a meditation app for all intents and purposes. It does a bit more than that, but we can call it a meditation app or a mental health app. So when you first start using Headspace, it asks you to choose a topic to focus on. So it gets you to choose one topic that you want to focus on. And then based on that topic, it gives you, in the morning, do these 3 steps. In the afternoon, do these 3 steps. Very simple, like 1-minute activities or 2-minute activities. And slowly the duration of the activities increase. Because from Headspace perspective, when you do the 1-minute activity, you actually see the benefit and get value within 1 minute of getting onboarded. So they're taking you to the aha moment in just 1 minute. And from there, if you had a great experience, and obviously the designs look great, it's easy to use, it's intuitive. And if you felt that, okay, those 5 deep breaths or that first step that they provided you was valuable, it is more likely that you will continue to do the second step and the third step and so on and so forth. But if that experience itself was, say, for example, the first step was, okay, meditate for 60 minutes, people might, who are just starting on their journey might get fed up and just quit the app and stop using it. So onboarding is the other one where you can get the product to sell itself and convert the users and retain the users more and more. The next step, or the next PLG mechanic, is building in viral loops. So viral loop actually addresses 2 aspects of it. So good question, Anisha. So the estimated time for onboarding process for Headspace is it's a 3-step process. So the first step is you choosing one area that you want to focus on. It has about 10 different options, and you look at all the options. Deciding might probably take a minute, and then it gives you like 3 + 3 + 3, 9 steps for that whole day, morning, afternoon, night, or afternoon, night, and the next morning kind of thing. and you do the first activity. First activity is generally 1 to 2 minutes long. So 1 plus 2 minutes, about 3 minutes is their onboarding to take the user from the first activation to their aha, or first onboarding to their aha. Interesting. Noom. I have not used that product before, but we'll discuss it at the end of this. Built-in viral loops. Viral loops actually talk about retention and how you can get people to refer every user that you have acquired to refer other users and bring in more users, or at least create awareness among other users. So this is basically the ability of an app to spread and grow organically through user recommendations. Highly viral app experience provide like a rapid and exponential growth to the business, because all it depends on is word of mouth marketing and social sharing. And we know that word of mouth is probably one of the most powerful marketing mechanics there is, because word of mouth, you are sharing it with someone and the other person knows that the person who's recommending is a user of the product and they have experienced it, so the trust level immediately increases there. Why viral loops? So basically it's all in the mathematics. So imagine your cost per install is $5, right? If you want to acquire 100,000 users, that will cost you $500,000 in acquisition. So $5 per user CPI is the average in Australia. Imagine you want 100,000 users over a period of 12 months. So your marketing budget estimate is about $500,000. But if you work really well with the viral loops, and if you assume that, okay, every user that you acquire can bring in 3 others, and only 25% of the users that you acquire, will recommend someone else and bring in users, it costs just $125,000 to acquire 100,000 users, right? Which is basically, when you compare it to 500,000, a 75% savings, and you can use the remaining $375,000 for something else, right? So viral loops will dramatically reduce your marketing costs and acquisition costs. At the same time, it will help your product grow organically without you having to spend money and effort in acquiring users. Some of the key components in viral loops: social sharing, referral programs, gamification, where you can compete with other users. So people might invite their friends so that they can compete. Creating user-generated content, limited time offers and events, where you can tell the user this is a limited edition or a limited time offer, so they can actually share it with people that they care about. Group benefits, so if people want to bring in more, there's a discount if multiple people join at the same time, and things like that. So one question here, with the projects that you have seen or the apps that you have used, can you think of any other viral loop or viral mechanism where the product has gotten you to invite your friends and family into the fold or to start using the product in exchange for an incentive? Anything? If you can think, Uber Eats. So what does Uber Eats do?
So it's something like the referral. So like,
Yeah.
if you are an Uber Eats member and you then recommend the app to like at least another person, they give you $10 off your next order.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, for sure. I'll actually share an example. We have a few more examples here, and if I get some time at the end of this session, I'll share a really good use case that we had where we helped a product grow viral loops even when the users were reluctant to actually share the product with their friends and family. It's a very interesting story. So if I get some time at the end of this session, I'll actually share that. But some of the examples that we can see is, one is Calendly. So what you do is you are actually booking an appointment with someone. So you select the date, you select the time, you confirm the meeting, and it automatically books you in for the meeting. But at the same time, it says, hey, you had this great experience. Do you want to try scheduling appointments for yourself? Here's a link to creating your own free Calendly account. So what they're doing is, you have just seen the value. They're giving you a very nice pitch where you can actually create your own account. And they're saying all you need to do is create your account with your email address. They're not asking you for any other information. You have created the account, you already have a Calendly link which you can share. And then progressively you can update your calendar availability and integrate your other calendars into it, or integrate your Zoom, Google Meet, or whatever. Okay? But they get you to the aha moment as quickly as possible, but at the right context, where someone sent you a Calendly link, you created an event, and now you have an option to create your own. So potentially every user that a customer sends their Calendly link to is a potential customer for Calendly, and they're using that viral loop to grow their customer base. The other one is Loom. So what Loom does is, as soon as you record your screen, it will prompt you, do you want to share it with someone? So you share it with your friends or your family or your co-workers or someone, and immediately every person that they have acquired to, if they share the video with another person, that person now becomes aware of Loom, and they create a Loom account to watch it. So they have now become a customer of Loom. They have seen the value of it, and potentially they might start using Loom and become a paying subscriber. And like how Nanisha said, Uber Eats and a lot of other products as well, sometimes they say, if you invite your friends or family or gift them $10, so if they start using the product, they get $10, you get $10. It's a win-win situation. And sometimes they also make it exclusive. So they might say, you only have 5 invites, so invite whoever you want. So then, because it's more exclusive, you are thinking hard and fast on who are those top 5 people in your life that you want to invite to this product, and share that exclusiveness with them. So viral loop is one of the key product-led growth mechanic, and determines how fast your business or your product can grow. Now, that actually brings us to the end of our session. But I just want to share this one use case that we had. So we built a mobile application, augmented reality mobile application for a pretty large beverage brand in Australia. So they are a global brand. So we were working with the Australian team, and the whole MO was, you buy a beverage and you scan the bottle using the AR application. The bottle, gives you a nice, entertainment or engaging experience. Now, one of the things that we had in the app originally, or the business had in the app originally, was an option for the user to share the app with their friends. And the business saw that people were not doing that, right? And when they dug deep into it, when we started conducting the user experience tests and user interviews and all that, what the business realized was the experience itself in the app was kind of like a party trick for the users. They did not want to give it away. Say the users buy a bottle of beverage, they go to a party or they go to a friend's place, and they whip out their phone and show that, as a conversation starter, and it was kind of their party trick, and they did not want to share it with their friends because they wanted to have it, and it was kind of their cool factor. So people were actively deciding not to share the app with their friends and family. the way we converted that was using the UGC, user-generated content factor, where we built an experience where the user can buy a bottle of beverage, they can scan the bottle, and the user can create a poem using the app. And it overlays the poem limerick, actually a 4-line limerick, onto the bottle, and it says written by Wish, right? And then it nicely frames the bottle in a nice picture, and the user has that picture now. Now the user started actually posting that picture onto their social media and sharing it with their friends and family, because they wanted to show, hey, look at this cool poem that I created, and it's on a bottle. And when they started sharing that, along with the image, there was a link sent to their friends and family and on their social to see, hey, check this out. Wish created this cool poem. Create yours now using this link. Then the users started sharing that, and the product started getting more and more users organically. And that was a way where we circumnavigated an active pushback from the users for referrals. We circumnavigated that and got the users to share the product with their friends and family using one of these product-led growth mechanics. So yeah, we'll go back to the questions. Before that, in the next session, we have the next session coming up. We'll be talking about how to use jobs to be done to understand your market and understand what are the key jobs that your users want to perform and how you can differentiate yourself. And then finally, at the end of that session, we'll be looking at how you can collaborate with your development and engineering teams and design teams using Figma. Now, with that, I'll actually go to the questions that we had.
Possible user experiences with QR codes, Vish?
Yeah, we'll go through this one. Will be good to see the actual user journey. Sounds interesting. Rachel, is this for the beverage application that I talked about?
Yeah, it's for the case study you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I'll see if I can actually find a recording of that user experience, and I'll actually share that with the group if I can find it. I'll probably need to check with the client first if they're okay for that to be shared. But yeah, I'll see if I can find that. So can you possibly talk about the user experiences with QR codes? Nanisha, can you please help me understand this question a bit more? What you meant by that?
Yeah, so I've noticed as well another trend that's been going on is like a lot of like startups or companies that are now using like QR codes to like share their even like their onboarding process or to share more about their app. And like the QR code is so shareable in a way that even the user then can share the QR code with others, and it becomes like in a way like a viral thing. So I wanted to see if you could talk more about how we can sort of or really like work on that with our ideas if made possible.
Yeah, 100%. So the reason I asked you to clarify the question is QR codes can be used in a wide variety of ways, right? So, but the ultimate purpose of using a QR code is in making it really easy for the users to get to a destination, right? So QR code is essentially a link, right? So whether it's the app or it's the web or something else, it's just a destination link. So you scan the QR code, you click on the link, and it takes you to the place. Now, some of the apps that use it, say, for example, you are setting up Netflix on your or Prime on your TV. Instead of getting you to type your username and password on the TV using your remote, they provide you a QR code, you scan it with the phone, and it's very easy to type on the phone rather than on the TV. So, what they're doing is essentially providing you an experience where they're making it really easy for you to log into the OTT platform on the TV by making use of your phone. If you look at LinkedIn, you meet someone in a marketing event, say, for example, and you want to share your LinkedIn profile with them. Instead of sharing the link to the LinkedIn on SMS or something where you need the other person's phone number and you have to get their phone number, save it to your phone, then send them an SMS or a WhatsApp message, and then they click on the link and they go to the LinkedIn app and doing it. You can present your profile QR code. The other person just scans the QR code from their phone and they click on it, and boom, your LinkedIn profile is open on their app and they can connect with you, right? That's another experience. Now, if you look at the onboarding experience or the sharing experience, now imagine it's a mobile application and you want, it's a, say, social media, for example, right? And you want to invite your friend to your social media. Now you share the referral link. Imagine you are sending the link via an email, right? Instead of the SMS. So if it is the SMS, it's just a single link, you click on it, it takes you to the App Store or Play Store. But if it is an email, if the user is not using the phone to access their email, it's on a desktop application. If on a computer, the user has opened their email, the user clicks on the link, the app cannot install on the computer. So there's no way for the user, then they have to go to their mobile and click on the link again, or they have to copy paste the link onto their phone or manually search for the application. So instead of doing all this, if the email includes a QR code, all the user can do is then scan the QR code from their phone and boom, the app is opened and they can install the app. So there are multiple different ways and multiple different purposes for QR codes, but the underlying mechanism is how can we get a user to a destination without the user having to manually search or type the links. That's basically what it is. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thanks.
Awesome.
And I was just gonna put it on the chat, but basically I was just wondering if next session you could share some like a list of resources or apps or software that we can use to create our own app if we haven't, you know what I mean?
So again, this is probably a more subjective question on what the app requires and things, but
Of course,
I
yeah.
can share some resources on or different ways of creating your app.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks.
Sure. Cool. Any final questions? Anything before we wrap up? Awesome.
Just if you could actually, sorry, just if you could share the final slide with our details as well, Vitch, just the phone numbers, so everyone can get a chance to write that down.
Oh yeah,
as well.
just share that again.
So as you can see there, you've got both our email addresses there and my direct mobile phone number as well, 0422214553. What we'll also do, I'll also send an email to you all as well, just to say thank you for joining the session. And on there, I'll also have my meeting link on there, so you can actually have direct access to my calendar. So if there's time for 15 to 20 minutes that you want to book in, you can actually directly go into my calendar as well, have a chat. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everybody. That was a great session again. Thank you so much, Vish and Zane from Appomate. We really do appreciate that. Again, learned a whole bunch. So don't worry, we recorded this session. We'll have it up on the YouTube. I just have it recorded. Just got to clean it up a little bit, and then I will get it up on the YouTube right after this, so you can record it and go off to the races. And then we'll have our final session next Monday, which will be another hour and a half. And again, all 3 sessions will be up on the YouTube channel. But again, I want to thank so much our friends over at Appomate, Zane and Vish. Really appreciate it. And everybody have a nice day and get off the building. All right.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Cheers. Appreciate it.